MMAWeekly.com, Damon Martin here with Ben Henderson in Milwaukee. Ben, second fight in the UFC. Feel any different than the first fight?
I mean, just the vibe and everything. The first one was the biggest event in UFC history, so that's a lot to live up to, you know. I think from there, it can only, you know, it's hard to top that. So as far as the vibe, the feel, it's not quite as out there, you know, but it's still just another UFC event. I'm excited for it, you know.
Facing a guy in Jim Miller who is going for his 8th win in a row, maybe a title shot. Seems like there's a lot of pressure on him because of, you know, all the things on the line. Does that give you a little more motivation? Does it take some of the pressure off you?
I would say, yeah, a little bit. As far as the last time I fought, and it was for the winner fights the UFC title, that was a lot of pressure on me. I didn't fold up underneath the pressure, I don't think, but I didn't perform my game plan. I didn't do what I wanted to do. I let that get to my head a little bit. I'm not saying that's going to happen for Jim for sure, but the onus is on him. You know, if he wins, he gets the title shot. If I win, you know, I upset his title aspirations and whatnot. But I would say, yeah, the onus is on Jim.
You were, you know, when you were in the WC, you built yourself up to the point where you got the title shot. Now you're in the UFC. You know, Mark Bocek was a very tough first test. Now you get a top 5 lightweight in Jim Miller. I mean, do you feel like this is kind of looking like a similar path to what you took in the WC, getting towards that title, taking on, you know, kind of moving up the ladder progressively the way you're doing it?
I think so, exactly. You know, the ideal, you know, the career path you want to take is each fight's bigger and better. Each fight has more on the line. Each fight gets you one step closer to the title. If you lose, then you got to start all the way back going down at the end of the whatever list it is, you know. So, you know, I just want to keep on winning, keep on climbing that ladder. And the WC run, I climbed that ladder. UFC, I'm going to climb the ladder also.
Jim was one of the UFC lightweights who was a little critical of the WC guys coming in. You know, didn't believe that you guys deserved the title shot day one. I know you WC guys all carry that banner still with you a little bit. I mean, is that going to be carried a little bit on Sunday night?
I definitely remember the comments Jim Miller made about the WC fighters coming into the UFC. I'm not taking it personally. Every man, every woman, child is entitled to their opinion, so I'm not going to begrudge the person for their opinions. But I remember those comments, and that's going to enter the cage for sure.
How do you think the WC guys have done so far? Because I think it's been pretty spectacular so far.
I think it's what, like 6-5.
Yeah.
I think so. I think we're you know, above 500, which is to say, Jim, from the way Jim explained it over the phone on the telephone conference, was Jim was thinking that the WC guys were getting too much hype coming into the UFC, and a lot of UFC fighters were getting disrespected as far as, oh yeah, WC guys are coming over, they're gonna kick all your guys' butt, you know. And then us WC fighters were feeling the exact same, but on the opposite end, oh yeah, WC guys are going to the UFC, they're gonna get all their butts kicked. What do you guys think about that? So I think it's how the media asked the question to each fighter. You know, as for me, whatever, you know. I'm definitely not going to be one of the guys who's weeded out pretty quickly, but I think that how you ask the question to each fighter is going to, you know, kind of skew his answer a little bit.
You and Jim, you know, you guys both have obviously things you do great, but you're similar in a lot of ways too. Very well-rounded, you know, good wrestlers. You like to finish fights, you know, you really go for it. Do you think that makes for the, you know, the recipe for a very exciting fight, or could it be a, you know, kind of a tactical fight?
I think it will be a tactical fight either way. I think the thing about Jim and I both is that we do bring it, we go for finishes. A lot of his fights go to decisions. Most of his fights go to decisions, but he's always looking for a finish. If you make a mistake, he will finish you. He will grab a knee bar. He will grab a toe hold. He will grab a guillotine. He will knock you out. You know, if you make a mistake against me, give me your neck. I'm walking home with your neck. I'm walking home with your arm. If you let me, you know, stick your chin out there and you let me touch your chin, I'll put you out. So I think that on that side, we go for finishes, which will lead to an exciting fight. But we're both pretty technical. You know, we're not the guys who are going to stand there and throw hook, 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 hook again. You know, we're both pretty technical, strategic fighters. We, you know, generally speaking, stick to our game plans. So yeah, I think it's going to be a technical fight, but it's going to be a barn burner at the same time.
Last question. You don't have to show it, but I noticed before your last fight, you got some pretty serious ink on your back.
Yeah.
And as a fan of tattoos myself, talk to us about that. What was the design and the idea behind it? Back pieces are pretty intense.
Yeah. Big shout out first and foremost. Big shout out to my boy Marcelo Stefanic for hooking it up. Yeah, he's the guy who inked me. His name is Mello, casually, but he did an awesome job. I got a couple of big angel wings and just wings on my back. Something I wanted to do forever, for a long time, since like high school. All my college buddies remember me talking about it, but I never had the cojones to actually do it. So I finally got the cojones a little bit. It was interesting time in my life. So I had a lot of things going through my head. I felt it was just the right time. Like oh, I don't want to get it now, I don't want to get it yet, blah blah. I always have training, always getting ready, always wrestling, always something come along where I can't, rest my body and allow 19 hours of ink to set in and whatnot. So it was the right time, right place. Found the right guy to do it. And all the stars aligned, and now I got me a proud set of wings.
Thanks very much, Ben.
Yeah, thanks, Sammy.